I don't know if I had a topic for today, would be pretty much doing whatever it takes, knowing when to lead from the front. I guess that was kind of part of the trip. And then we were struggling with some, you know, typical roofing stuff. And so I decided to take a road trip down to Greenville, I guess for a day and a half, a day in Atlanta. And for those of you that might be watching this, if don't be frustrated every day, come see you guys or reach out to you. When we were in Greenville, just it wasn't that kind of trip, wasn't a hangout trip. It was all work, no play. We did actually get to take the team out to Top Golf last night. And it was nice. It's nice hanging out at fellowshippy, camaraderie, and all that good stuff. But I think one of my biggest things is, when I travel, I tend to be always like, if it's over like a day or two, I tend to, I don't know, like I feel like I'm off, like my rhythm, my regular processes, my scheduling things are off, whether it's my sleeping schedule. And like I said, I can do, especially being away from my family and stuff, and I guess if anyone's listening, like throw something in the comments, like if you experience the same thing where you just feel like something's off, right? Like you're just not fully you, and comment if you got any solutions for that. But, and I think I've done pretty well with the amount of traveling that we've done, and trying to stay at the moment, not have so many different moving parts. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I struggle with is compartmentalizing all of the different things that I have going on, whether it's work, businesses, family stuff. And I think one of the biggest things that bothered me was, or that may have been, antagonizing me a little bit, was I missed Jennifer on Tuesday. We came down here. Now, of course, we didn't do anything over the last weekend. But we're rushing home right now. We left at 4:00 this morning to get home at time. And if you haven't wished Jen a happy birthday yet, please reach out to her. Clean through, because Vic always seems to be my sidekick. If Jen is not with me, Vic is with me, or Glenn or somebody, but usually, and John's came with us on our adventures too. And everybody at these spec families. But Jana, we like, if our relationship was any different than what it is today, honestly, I don't think we would be where we're at today. If she was one of those, oh, you work too many hours, or, you travel too much and you're away from the kids. We made an agreement, like a pinky swear, long time ago, that pretty much whatever it takes. And she's been beside, front of, behind, all. But anyhow, so thank you, Gia, and happy birthday, happy belated birthday. And Mother's Day Sunday, I think this Sunday. So it's time. Taking a short little trip, rushing on me, Rocket. Jana, we're taking a short little weekend trip together. Well, but just, irritating me and trying to deal with other little things that pop up and stay in the moment and stay positive and keep everybody pumped up. And if anybody's got any solutions or techniques that they've used, whether it's from packing, the night before, getting your suitcase out like a week before, slowly putting things into it, and like, what do you take and how much do you take? And, if you're going for 3 days, do you take 9 pairs of underwear, 9 pairs of socks? I'm serious question. You know what I mean? Like, because I've traveled a lot. I've tried a lot of different things to make it more comfortable and be present, be there and get rest, plenty of rest. And that's the thing. I'm okay like the first night. I think it's funny because some nights when I get to a place, maybe the first night I don't sleep well, right? Because I'm in a new place. Uh, or I'll sleep really well because of the traveling, but then the second night I can't sleep. My mind's racing, or just in a different place and things aren't where I'm used to them being. But the one thing that I can tell you that has helped me, couple of different things. I'll share some tricks that I've done. One is work out. Uh, Actually, something came up that quite frankly pissed me off. Uh, while being on the road, and Vic and I came back to the hotel room, and nothing that anybody did in Greenville, nothing that really has anything to do with. It just kind of, I don't know, stuck in my craw a little bit. So I went to the gym, and I didn't tell you about it, but I ended up going to the gym, and I worked out. Like, it was such a great pump, and I even texted Janet and I said, listen, I need to be off for all things before I work out, because it was such a good workout. Uh, like, I did an extra set of reps and went 5 pounds heavier. Like, it was good. But anyhow, that's, so working out, especially like if you're having trouble sleeping, working out, because for me, that's a normal part of my routine. I work out almost every day. If I don't walk on the treadmill or jog on a treadmill or lift weights or something like a near old clock is, and I'm actually kind of envious of Jana because now I got her hooked. So last night she's up to 2 minutes, 44 degrees, tubs down to 44 degrees. And she did 2 minutes. So I'm super proud of her. And I think she's getting the medicinal effects from it, like the health effects from it, because she got arthritis in her shoulder and stuff like that. But it does so many things. For me, it gives me clarity. It helps boost my metabolism. Just so many aches and pains and inflammation and just for me, it's not a game changer. It's a life changer. Okay. It's cold plunge, cold showers, things like that. And I think my issue with cold showers is that I've done them for so long because of the Fearless 44, but I still do them when I'm on the road. But my technique for that, especially in Greenville, because y'all think you got cold water in Greenville, but you come up north to the great state of Pennsylvania, and our well water home is much colder. I think our water is at least 50 degrees, at least, when it comes out of spit. But anyhow, so what I have to do when I'm in Greenville or Atlanta or even Florida is I have to take a really hot shower first, kind of do my business. I wash my hair, soap up, lather up, do all that stuff. But then I rinse with as cold water as I possibly can. And that really helps too. Again, that's trying to repeat the same things I do at home. It kind of just make me feel it. It's normal to me, right? Because I am a creature of habit. So I need to make sure that my toothpaste is the same when I travel. My toothbrush is the same when I travel. My trimmers, like everything that I have, like I bought duplicates of everything. So I don't have to like necessarily run home, unpack, all of my toiletries. I keep a bag packed. That's one thing that I do. All of my vitamins, I have extra packs of vitamins that I keep with me in my carrying bag. And I know it's kind of off topic a little bit, but for those of us that travel, and I know a lot of people that watch this travel, like Mike Goldenstein, I mean, all of us travel. I mean, we just do. We just travel, whether it's to events, to retreats, to, whatever. We just travel. And anybody that just travels once or twice a year, what do you do to take with you? What do you take with you to make you more comfortable? And it's a serious question. But for those of you that travel for work, like I would like to pick Mike Goldenstein's brain, because that dude travels more than anybody that I think I know. I mean, that dude always someplace. And then when you travel a lot, reacclimating, like when you get home, or don't you reacclimate because you're just getting ready to go back on the road? Because I know when Vic and I think 2 years ago, we traveled weekly. There may have been a week where we would come home for a whole week, but that following week we're going back on the road. And I think for me, the hardest part there was coming back and trying to get my head wrapped around, where I was. I left off at the deed helps that other projects that I have going in the background that a lot of people aren't even aware of, besides those of you that are super close to me. But I think not that I struggle with feeling. We were, pretty jacked on the way down, back when we got here, focused, and we stayed focused, and it was mission accomplished. But I think the biggest thing, I don't know if it was that I was just missing being home this time. Like my bathroom schedule was off. Everything was off. And I guess, but going back to my question, how do you combat your routine when you finally get a routine? Because we haven't traveled that much. This past winter, we didn't do the amount of events and stuff besides travel to, see Spectre locations and stuff like that. Which one of the other things is, with consistency is staying at the same places, lodging at the same places when we can, because of the normalcy that it gives me. And I think that was one of the good perks of this trip is that, the valet people knew us, people, it's kind of like Cheers, go where people know your name kind of thing. So that's one way that we've, combated that, just to feel normal and not so much out of place. But, dealing with that, emotional, I guess that, a side topic that's kind of complements is dealing with emotional turmoil. Not that I dealt with it, but I'm going to go off probably on a different tangent here. Is dealing with emotional turmoil, and not always fixated on the 5% that may be going wrong, but trying to stay positive and upbeat, and not taking out, like if I am having a bad day or I do get pissed off, not taking it out on somebody else because maybe I'm in a position or I'm at a place that I don't want to be, and I feel like somebody else should be there, and here I'm taking it out on everybody else because maybe I'm not getting my own way, things aren't going the way that I thought they should go, and not, letting it ruin my whole day and somebody else's day, but trying to seek the positive and not freezing up. There was a couple points trip where we could have just simply said, you know what, let's just go back to the office and hang out with sales. And like we stuck to the goal, we completed the goal, and with those little things that would pop up every now and then, not getting stuck and not staying fixated on it and moving beyond it. And, and I'm using that as an example, not that anything really wrong happened, but being an entrepreneur, or being a manager, and even if it's to work as much as I do, is when I co-pilot or the pilot, and listening to the shit that I got to deal with, all the emails that we receive is somebody else's problem, right? Text messages, somebody else's problem, that's what we do. We're fixers. We fix things. Fix people's screws. We fix people's problems. We fix people's issues. And sometimes we're people's punching bags. And how do we recover from that? And how do we stay resilient and move past that, and not stay so fixated? For me, I try to think about, okay, done. Phone calls over. Is there something that I need to do to resolve this issue, or is it something I can't do now? Has to wait till Monday. Again, compartmentalizing it, putting it back here, moving on, is definitely a skill that I suck at and have sucked at over the years, man. Like something would happen. I don't care what it is. Shoelace would break. Dude, day ruined. Everybody's day's ruined. And I'm not happy until it is. I just get so jacked up on stuff. And I couldn't move on. I couldn't push forward. I would get so stuck in stupid stuff. And it's crazy because major things would happen and I could deal with that. But something little would happen, I'd freak out and just manage and lead and parent and just everything really bad, and I think one thing that's really helped me is just watching other people behave poorly. We had a situation come up and I feel like someone treated me very poor. Okay. Right, wrong, or indifferent. It's kind of how I felt. But I don't know how many times in my life, in my career, my childhood, my teenage years, where something like that would have happened. And listen, it was minuscule, but too much worse by my actions, by the freaking swift, sharp flick of my tongue and just slice their throat and go straight for the jugular and just blow it so far out of proportion because I felt like they hurt my feelings or they were treating me badly or whatever, right? Instead of taking into consideration that maybe they're in a position, a spot that is making them feel super uncomfortable, right? And unfortunately, that probably has nothing to do with me, but I happened to be there and it was taken out on. Okay. I've done it. I don't know how many times I've done it. It's just like pulling out in front of somebody. And the person that you pull out in front of, their behavior is so poor and so bad. It's so ridiculous. That's me. There go I. Okay. And I know how that made me feel. Or some asshole riding your ass going up the highway. Right. That's me. There go I. Right. So I've got to experience it on both sides. And it's kind of like, how do I want to react? How do I want to respond to that? Do I want to be graceful and empathetic and, hey, no problem. No, I can't shit. No problem, man. You know what I mean? And today I'm not perfect at it, but I would say, and I think Vic got to experience a couple of times. He even mentioned it to me, it basically said to me, thank you for being a good example to me, because people want to be around people that are in control, right? They want to know when a situation pops off. I don't want my team, and I'm sure there's still people on the team today that has experienced me just losing my shit. Right? And there is a time and a place to lose your shit. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not put on this earth to be a doormat either. Okay? Because I'll bend, but eventually I will break. But I know when I need to shut off before I get to that point. And unfortunately, sometimes when I think I'm shutting off and I'm going home to shut off, I end up taking it out on Rocket Jenna. And I got to watch myself and be careful there too, because I've poured into everybody else and, empathetic, patient, tolerant. Then I get home, it's kind of like, they'll look at me wrong, man. And I don't even have to say anything. They see it.
You're not alone in that.
They see it.
Yep.
They scatter. And I don't want to live like that. Even my animal sets that shit. 3 dogs and cats, 3 grandchildren. God help bless them. Listen, we get to do this. We don't have to. Yeah, I was thinking that almost the entire time down there. I even texted Janet when we were down there, right before we walked into that big meeting down at Atlanta. Normally I'm nervous, a little bit nervous, before Vic meeting like that. Dude, I was actually super excited. I've been leading up to this. I've been excited about that because I think a lot of people look at it as a negative, but it wasn't. I mean, I was super excited. I could wait for the opportunity that was going to be presented to us. And 5 minutes, I was sitting in the truck. We were at the wrong place. And I texted Jenna that we get to do this. We get to do this thing. No matter how bad we think it is, no matter how good we think it is. Both of which are temporary. You know what I mean? Good days are temporary. The bad days, the mediocre days, that shit's just temporary, right? But you know what? We get to do this. We get to experience this joy. We get to experience this pain. You know, what have I learned from any of this? What has brought me joy? I'm going to seek more of that. What has brought me this pain? Oh, I do not want to experience that. I don't want to do that, right? If I can keep my eyes open and remove the blinders, and start really trying to enjoy life more, even in times of turbulence, right? Because it's happening for us. It really truly is. We talk about this all the time, and it's like, what does that actually really mean? Like, can you say that to yourself when you're going through shit? Like, practice that. And I have, I know this is happening for a reason. Like, why is this happening for us, right? Why is this? We had a conversation with Mike, and he's talking about, somebody being real super nitpicky about something. I was like, dude, that's great, right? Like, now use that as the standard. I don't know how many times we've come across, people that just, their expectations are so high, and it creates a tough atmosphere. It creates tough, to please. And we're all people pleasers, especially up with hard, and of course, all we want to do is just, we're happy. Those around us, those that we love, those that we work for, and when someone's dissatisfied. But if you could look at it in terms of like, okay, that's the standard, because if we can keep this person happy, and I'm not saying you need to become a doormat or anything like that. I'm speaking more for customer entrepreneurial, customer relations, right? And I'm not saying every customer's a good fit either, right? Sometimes you got to walk through some of them bad ones to realize that's just not a good fit. But in this particular situation where this is a big customer for us, so it's kind of like, big client, long term files, take the units and so third reoccurring warranties for that customer, and they have an individual that works for them that their standard just seems to be a little bit higher than everybody else. Not unrealistic. I don't think it seems unrealistic. But that's the standard, to set for the team. And sometimes there has to be consequences for people's eyes to open up, like send it back out, send them a back charge. If there got to be some form of, I don't even want to use the word punishment, but some kind of ramification, right? For their act, like a badge. It'd be like leaders don't tolerate that. Like, it's got to make you and make sure everything's tidy, or you're going to spend 3 hours later taking care of this, or you're going to backtrack or whatever. It's Mikey. I'm just going to use that as of setting a standard. That's a good opportunity to set a standard, a learning lesson for the team, and getting over it, right? Get over it. And that's how SOPs and KPIs are born. That's something else we worked on a lot too. As things came up, it was kind of like, and I know this might sound dumb, but Tam wrote us a KPI, or I'm sorry, an SOP for our food drive. So then we can share that with everyone else. Like, this is how we've done it. I'm not saying it's 100%. I'm saying this is a framework in which has worked for us in the past. And here you go. This is how we perform a food drive. So other locations can host their own food drives, right? So instead of running from that, trying to reinvent the wheel every time that we do it, now next year we can look back at the SOP, right? If we appoint someone head of the, like, here's your SOP, and I'm using the food drive as an example, onboarding a new member. There's a new position that we just filled with a service technician and service manager at the Greenville location. So Tam wrote out an SOP, and then I looked at it, and then we kind of threw in like how I used to do it with the calendar and stuff like that. So then we could share it with Mike, and then Mike could share it with the new person. Do you know what I mean? But until the pain got great enough of us smacking our head over, on the floor, of training by hearsay, that works when there's 3 people in the organization. But as we grow and go through those growing pains, it stay resilient. It's like, hey, why don't we jot this stuff down as we go along here? As things pop up. Now, we got SOPs for everything. But again, something else that we talked about, like, we need to go review some of them. Some of these might be 5 years old. Some of them might only be 6 months old. But now that we hired someone else to do a different position and removed something off somebody's plate that's no longer required to do that position, the SOP is going to change. Then we've noticed some of that recently too, where John and Jane's things were kind of overlapping. So people were reaching out to John when now it's in fact James's position to take care of emails and things like that. So, you know what I mean? As our eyes are open to like why this is happening for us, we catch them at like, oh, we got to revamp the SOP. That's why they're still reaching out. That's why so-and-so's still being tagged in these emails. Who no longer is in that position because they moved on to a different and better position. You know what I mean? It's like when you can start having these moments of clarity and stop staying stuck in the negative. Dude, like I can't, like the older I get, man, like I can't stand being around negative people. I can't stand negative shit.
Ty, I think the biggest thing is that wherever our mindset is at that moment, that's what we're looking for. For being negative, we're only looking at the negative stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the biggest takeaway from it. If you do what you said to do, which none of us are perfect at, but if you do that, if you say, okay, what am I being taught here? What's the lesson? You know what I mean? Then you're looking for the positive. And that's how to find those things to build on the SEPs. You know what I mean?
Yes, totally. But if you're stuck in the negative, there's no solution there. And it's not going to come to you when you're just bitching, complaining, and poking, and prodding, and belittling, and there's no solution there. You know what I mean? It's like if you could train your mind, it's a skill. It's a skill to look for the positive. Yeah, there's some negatives, cool. But you're fine for the got to ask that. And whether it's writing SFPs, whether it's sitting down with that individual and having an adult conversation without making each other feel like a piece of shit or, acting like you're superior or you're looking down, at them or whatever. You know what I mean? It's really, truly not even worth it. And one, think about the emotional hangover that you experience by staying stuck in the negative. And why you think, why you're like, why don't I have the energy? I got so much of my so that I have to do. And a lot of that is because one, they're not asking help. Two, you think you could do it better than anybody else, right? And that's negative thinking. That is negative thinking. And then you get resentful at everybody else because they're not helping you. But anytime they've ever tried to help you,
I got this.
In the long run, you look like dipshit. Yeah, you look like dipshit. So, and I think we've got the experience a little bit of this, and I'm tired. I don't know if you're tired, but I'm tired. Not necessarily, I think maybe from being up at 3 o'clock this morning, maybe a little tired.
I'm road weary.
Yeah, road weary. Yeah. But, I think, I'm going to wrap it up.